Bradford has seen its fair share of stories, but this one, no one saw it coming. She blended in so well, it was almost an art. Shazia Din, a mum in her mid-40s, 3 kids, modest house, lived just like everyone else on the estate. She wasn't loud, she wasn't flashy. She kept to herself, nodded politely to neighbors, sometimes chatted in passing. That was it. No one thought to ask where the money came from. The high-end handbags, the new Audi, the fact that her teenage son didn't seem to have a job, but always had cash. You'd never guess she was running a $5 million cocaine operation. Not from the outside. To the world, she was just another single mum trying to make ends meet in a tough city. But behind closed doors, Shazia was orchestrating drug shipments, coordinating drop-offs, and laundering profits, all while raising a family. What made it even more chilling? She wasn't just dabbling, she was deep in it. A key figure, not someone being used or manipulated. She was in control. And this wasn't a small-time hustle. This was high-purity cocaine, wholesale quantities, traced across county lines and into major cities, the kind of thing that doesn't happen without serious connections and serious consequences. For months, the operation ran quietly. No shootouts, no drama, just clean execution and cash flow. But as with most stories in the underworld, it never stays quiet forever. Eventually, the cracks started to show, and when they did, they brought the entire empire down with them. This wasn't some back alley, baggy in a hoodie drug deal. Shazia Din was running her business like a CEO, just one operating outside the law. Police would later describe it as sophisticated and highly organized, and they weren't exaggerating. The cocaine came in from overseas, large volumes, high purity, not street-level rubbish. This was the good stuff, likely trafficked through the usual European routes. Amsterdam, Rotterdam, maybe even concealed in fruit crates or car body panels. Once in the UK, it was stored, cut, packaged, and sent back out to the streets. And Shazia, she wasn't moving bricks herself. She didn't have to. She had people for that. Runners, drivers, stash house managers. She coordinated operations with the help of encrypted phones, most likely EncroChat, the now infamous system once favored by organized crime networks across Europe, before it was cracked wide open in 2020. Each message was coded, each call brief. The whole setup was built to stay invisible, and for a while, it worked. The estimated value, 5 million. That's not turnover. That's product on the street. That's ruined lives, addicts, debt, violence, territory wars, and the woman behind it all, making moves from the comfort of a 3-bedroom semi. Her home wasn't just where she lived, it was command central. From her kitchen table, deals were negotiated, money was counted, routes were planned, deliveries were greenlit. But it wasn't just about profit. Shazia moved smart. She spread out risk. Multiple addresses were used to store the product. Family members held packages. Associates laundered money through fake businesses and cash-heavy side hustles. She built a web. And when police finally started pulling on the threads, they discovered something darker still. Her own son was a key player, a mother and son narco duo, hiding in plain sight. When investigators dug into Shazia Din's network, what they found hit harder than anyone expected. She wasn't just leading a multi-million-pound cocaine operation, she was running it with her son. Shazia Din, barely 20 years old at the time, wasn't just some kid who got caught up in his mum's mess. No, he was an active player, trusted, involved, and frighteningly good at it. Zain helped coordinate drug drops, delivered kilos of cocaine, and kept the operation moving smoothly. He used the same encrypted phones, spoke the same code, and knew exactly what he was doing. It wasn't a case of teenage rebellion. It was a business partnership, mother and son. Police later revealed Zain made runs from Bradford to Cardiff, transporting cocaine hidden in everyday items. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't sloppy. In fact, surveillance showed he handled the job like a pro. Cool, calculated, and careful. But what really shook people was the moral line that had been crossed. This wasn't just a woman caught up in crime. This was a mother who had brought her child into it. Whether out of ambition, trust, or sheer cold strategy, she made him a part of it. At one point, Zain was stopped by police while driving. Inside the car, blocks of cocaine worth hundreds of thousands. He kept his mouth shut. Even as officers arrested him on the spot, no resistance, no tears, just silence. Maybe he thought his mum would sort it out. Maybe he thought the operation was too big to fail. But when your family business is built on Class A drugs, it only takes one mistake for everything to crash down. And that mistake, it was already in motion. Every empire has cracks. And for Shazia Din's operation, the first one came in the form of a tip-off. Someone talked. Whether it was a rival, a nervous associate, or just a slip-up, West Yorkshire police were suddenly paying attention. And once they got a sniff, they didn't back off. They launched a full investigation, Operation Eagle, a covert operation targeting major drug routes between the north of England and South Wales. At first, it was just about watching. Cameras, surveillance teams, quiet tracking of movements between Bradford and Cardiff. But as the days turned into weeks, patterns started to emerge. They noticed frequent journeys, same drivers, same cars, same destinations, all carefully timed, always returning lighter than they left. Suspicious, but nothing concrete. Yet, then came the breakthrough. Shazia Din was spotted leaving a house in Cardiff known for drug activity. Police tailed him all the way back to Bradford. When they pulled him over near Leeds, he tried to stay calm, but inside the vehicle, cocaine worth over $150,000, hidden beneath shopping bags in the boot. That was it. The house of cards had started to fall. From there, it moved fast. Search warrants were issued. Multiple addresses were raided in Bradford, Leeds, and Cardiff. Police found cocaine, cash, packaging materials, encrypted phones, even notebooks with coded figures. Shazia was arrested at home, still calm, still quiet. She didn't scream or deny it. She knew what was happening. The evidence was overwhelming. Surveillance footage, GPS data, forensic fingerprints on drug parcels, texts pulled from cracked EncroChat messages linking her to supply chains. In the span of days, what had taken years to build was dismantled, brick by brick. She wasn't just caught, she was exposed as the mastermind of a carefully run, family-backed cocaine empire. And now, she was facing the one thing she couldn't coordinate her way out of, a courtroom. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, family members, plainclothes officers. You could feel the tension in the air. After months of surveillance, arrests, and speculation, the moment had finally arrived. Leeds Crown Court, spring 2023. Shazia Din stood in the dock, wearing a black headscarf and a plain coat. No emotion on her face, no signs of remorse, just a quiet stare, like someone watching it all happen from a distance. The charges: conspiracy to supply Class A drugs, possession with intent to supply, money laundering, and more. Her son, Shazia Din, stood just a few feet away, only 20 years old, charged with running drugs across the country. He looked straight ahead too. No nods between them, no tears, just silence. The prosecution didn't hold back. They described the operation as professional, structured, and ruthless. The lead prosecutor laid out the logistics: multiple homes used as drug hubs, thousands of pounds moved weekly, encrypted phones used to avoid police. He called Shazia the matriarch of a criminal enterprise, accusing her of exploiting trust, hiding behind motherhood, and dragging her own child into the underworld. The defense tried to soften her image. They claimed she was under pressure, possibly manipulated by others higher up, that she was just trying to provide for her family in a difficult world. But the evidence, it told a different story. There were photos, texts, video surveillance, phone records showing her at the heart of it all. The judge didn't flinch. In his sentencing remarks, he said, "You were not a bystander. You ran this network with precision. You used your home, your family, and your position as a mother to mask your crimes. The damage done by your actions stretches far beyond this courtroom." Shazia Din was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Her son, Zain, received 7 years. The courtroom stayed quiet as the guards led them away. No outbursts, no pleas, just the cold sound of a door locking behind them. Gone were the encrypted phones, the carefully planned deliveries, the illusion of control. Now, Shazia Din wakes up to the clank of prison doors and the echo of guards' footsteps, just another number in the UK prison system. She's currently serving her time at HMP New Hall, a women's prison in West Yorkshire. It's not a high-profile jail, but it's no holiday camp either. It houses a mix of drug offenders, violent criminals, and lifers, women from all walks of life, some hardened, some broken, some just trying to survive. And Shazia, she's no boss here. She reportedly keeps to herself, quiet, distant, not looking for trouble, but not particularly liked either. Other inmates know who she is. They've seen her name in the papers. They whisper about the mum who smuggled millions. There's no crew now, no family to back her up. Just concrete walls, timed showers, and prison meals. And Zane, he's in a different facility, HMP Wetherby, a young offenders institution, still serving his sentence, still processing the fallout of the life he was born into and dragged into. Sources say he struggled with prison life. Isolation hits different when you're that young, especially when the person who put you there is your own mother. For both of them, the silence is heavy. The outside world has moved on, but behind those bars, time crawls. Shazia may have built an empire, but now she's stuck in a place where status means nothing, and every day is a reminder of what she lost: her freedom, her son, and any chance of being remembered as just a mum trying to do right by her kids, because the legacy she left behind is written in kilos, court records, and cell numbers. Back in Bradford, the news hit like a brick. People who had known Shazia for years, some since childhood, couldn't believe it. The same woman who'd walked her kids to school, who smiled at the corner shop, who seemed no different from anyone else, had been sitting on a $5 million criminal empire. The local WhatsApp groups lit up, street corners buzzed with rumors, neighbors swapped stories like puzzle pieces, trying to make sense of what they'd missed. Some felt betrayed. "She lived 3 doors down from my nan," one man told a local reporter. "We thought she was just trying to get by. We had no clue she was moving bricks across the country." Others were angry, not just at Shazia, but at the system that allowed it to grow unnoticed. How many lives had been wrecked by the drugs she helped flood into their city? How many kids got hooked while she cashed in? And then there was the shock about her son. People who remembered Zane as a quiet boy with a decent smile now struggled to process the mugshot. Blank stare, no expression. Prison-issued clothes. Community leaders spoke out. West Yorkshire Police praised the success of Operation Eagle, calling it a significant blow to the regional drug trade. But they also warned that the demand for cocaine hadn't gone anywhere. Take out one network, they said, and another one rises. It's a cycle. But the Din family's fall left a scar, because this time it wasn't gangsters or career criminals. It was a mum and her son, people who looked just like everyone else, people no one thought to question. That's what shook Bradford the most. It wasn't that a drug gang was operating on their streets, it was that they never even saw it coming. Shazia Din's case isn't as unique as some might think. In recent years, law enforcement across the UK has noticed a rise in women stepping into leadership roles in organized crime, especially in the drug trade. These women aren't just mules or partners, they're running things. Why? Because they're underestimated. Police admit it, judges admit it. Society doesn't expect a middle-aged mum doing the school run to be trafficking Class A drugs across counties. That's what makes them effective. They hide in plain sight. They use family homes as fronts. They control operations with minimal exposure, and often they bring in their children, either to cover tracks or out of twisted trust. Shazia Din became a face for that shift, a symbol of how traditional roles are being weaponized in the underworld. And she's not alone. From London to Liverpool, more and more female figures are being uncovered. Mothers, daughters, even grandmothers, some with no prior records, but deeply embedded in dangerous networks. It's a new kind of crime story, not one of masked men and street wars, but of quiet homes, encrypted messages, and betrayal woven into bloodlines. Criminologists now warn that this trend is growing, especially in cities where drug demand is high and social surveillance is low. And while the faces might change, the method stays the same. Play the role, hide the truth, run the empire, until it all falls apart. In the end, Shazia Din wasn't just a criminal. She was a mother, a neighbor, a woman trusted by her community. And that's what made it all so chilling. She didn't need violence. She didn't need weapons. Just a phone, a network, and the willingness to cross a line most parents never would. The courtroom took her freedom. The operation took her family. And the truth, that's what stunned everyone the most, because behind every quiet street, every ordinary door, you never really know what's going on inside.